welcome to part 2 of That's So Yat. I'm your host Vanessa, and today we're going to be going over yadisms. Now when I say yadisms, let me explain first. First of all, the Yat accent is an accent that's pretty localized to the New Orleans and New Orleans metro area. It's not the only accent that we speak down here, it's just one of the many. And a lot of times people say, well, I don't hear people talking like that when I go there. A lot of foreigners have come in, and a lot of the locals have moved to outlying areas such as the West Bank, St. Bernard Parish, where I'm from, and places like that. So you'll hear it more prevalent on the outskirts and small little pockets than you will in the main city proper. But these yadisms you will hear all over the place. First thing I want to start out with is where yat. That is how we greet people. Hey, where yat? The reason why we say where yat is because where yat is we're asking where are you at? Where are you at in life? Are you doing good? How are things? We're not asking the actual physical location, because sometimes we'll see people on the street and go, hey, where you at? It's like, we know you're right there. So it's just a regular greeting. This one, your mom and them. Now, down here, we are a very matriarchal society. The mom has the last final say in everything. She kind of like rules the roost down here. And so when you're asking about like a lot of people, or, you know, oh, who's coming over? Oh, well, your mom and them are coming over. Okay, your mom and them. Who's them? Who's all involved? Them is anybody who is not the main person. So you pick one person as the group representative, and then them is just everybody else down on the list. One time my sister was coming over, and it was just her sister and my brother-in-law, and I told my mom, oh, my sister and them are coming over. And she goes, well, who else is coming? And I said, it's just Teresa and my brother-in-law. And she goes, oh, I thought a whole group of people were coming. Like, no. So even if it's just one other person, that one other person gets reduced to and them. They're just one person and then everybody else. But because everything is so about the mom here, it's always your mom and them. Tell your mom and them I said hi. Passing by. When you say you're going to pass by somebody's house, you don't mean you're just going to do a drive-by. It means you're going to stop. And then you're going to go in. And then you're going to get a visit for a while. So when we say, oh, you mind if I pass by? It means I'm going to pass by your house, stop, and then probably drop off something, pick something up, and then maybe have some coffee, donuts, sit around, chat for 3 hours. We're not just passing by. Don't be confused. The neutral ground. Everybody else in the world calls this a median, and it's that little divider that divides 2 lanes of traffic, or, you know, directional traffic going in 2 different directions. We call it the neutral ground, and the reason why is because on Canal Street, which is the widest street in the world, it's relative, downtown and uptown never really, they didn't really mix too well. So when downtown wanted to do business with uptown, what they would do is they would meet on Canal Street, and they would do their business on the neutral ground, because it was neither uptown nor downtown. And that's how we got the term neutral ground, and now all medians are called neutral grounds. When you go to a parade, people are going to ask when they ride in floats, oh, are you on neutral ground side or sidewalk side? Cardinal directions. Now this comes off of the neutral ground discussion. Canal Street divides uptown and downtown, but the way, lost my train of thought. But the way New Orleans is shaped, that's why we call it the Crescent City, because it's shaped in a crescent, because it's right there at that river bend. And so, because we're between a lake and a river, if you go north, that's lake. If you go south, that's river. If you go in towards the west, that's uptown, because it's on the western side of Canal Street. If you go on east, that's downtown, because it's on the eastern side of Canal Street. So when we ask, well, was it, which way were they going? Oh, they were going to the uptown direction. Or, oh, well, we were headed downtown. When you're not really heading downtown, even if you weren't crossing Canal Street, you're still headed downtown, even though you're not going there. It's just the direction. Well, it was on the uptown side. It was on the downtown side. That is for New Orleans. Now, in St. Bernard, we have a different set of cardinal directions. We have front, back, up the road, and down the road. And that being is because St. Bernard is more like a long, skinny, linear parish. And everything at one point, like at one spot, that was like where the businesses were, and that's where kind of like the community mostly started. And then everything kind of started spreading towards the back marsh area. So you had the front where all the business was, and the back where all, more people lived. Now, up the road is what butts right up against the New Orleans line. And then the further down the road you get, because it kind of goes like this, you're going down the road. And you'll hear that a lot if you come down to St. Bernard. You're like, oh my God, they totally sound like they're from down the road. And it's not just down the road, it's down the road, because that's how they say it. And the further down the road you get, the more the accents morph, and then you start getting into down the road. You gotta drag it out, because that's how they talk. Here we don't have trash cans. Everybody else calls it a trash can. You have just your paper, your other non-fetid refuse. That's trash. Garbage is things like food and other gross things that draw bugs. We call everything a garbage can. No matter what you're throwing in it, it's a garbage can. And people kind of look at me funny like, a garbage can? You mean you have a special can for just garbage? What about the trash? It's all the garbage can. We just have garbage cans down here. You throw everything in it. St. Bernard. I don't know why St. Bernard only is called the parish. And in Louisiana, we are the only city that has parishes and not counties. And for some strange reason, St. Bernard Parish is just referred to as the parish. If you say, I'm going to the parish, everybody knows you're going to St. Bernard. I really, really would like to know why that's called that. If anybody knows, comment below. Some of our colloquialisms come from Spanish and French. And one of them, I hear it like in small little pockets, but I don't hear it very, very often. One of them is parut. And it means, it derives from Cajun French, and it means to like just dig through and rummage through things. So I get annoyed when people come over to my house and they just start parooting through my drawers in my bathroom. It's like, stay out of it. That's personal business. Don't go digging through my stuff. Don't paroot. That's rude. But people do it. Or, say, I'm looking for batteries. Oh, it's in a junk drawer in the kitchen. Just go paroot through there. You'll find it. Here is a big one. And I want people to comment below and tell me what you all call this. This is a big, big, big one. Can't stress this one enough. I get so many weird looks when I go other places and I'm ordering a hamburger and I say, I want a hamburger fully dressed. They go, fully dressed? What? As opposed to naked? Whenever I go order a po' boy, it's ham and cheese fully dressed. And they know exactly what that means. That means you put the ham, the cheese, the mayo, the lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, onions, everything, the works. If you can put it on there, it's called fully dressed. I don't know what they call it anywhere else, but apparently nobody calls it fully dressed. Dressed, too, but mostly fully dressed. They're interchangeable. Yeah, tell me what you call it. I'd like to know. Now, here's a segment I like to call Old Yat. Of course, a lot of people don't talk like this and use these particular, but you can still find in the older community, like your grandpas and everything, your grandmas, they'll still kind of talk and use these phrases. We, okay, I shouldn't say that because there are certain sections of Chalmette that still kind of use that vernacular, and they mix with the accent. They still call it this. We don't have a kitchen sink. We have a kitchen zinc. I call it a sink, but I know so many people who still put the Z in that place, and I call it a zinc. My grandpa, he always called people partner. And I heard so many old people call people partner. And that's a weird way of saying partner. But, you know, it's your dudes, your home slice. Hey, partner. Banquet versus sidewalk. A lot of old people still refer to a sidewalk as a banquet. Now, they're not wrong. Depends upon where they are, though. If you're in a French Quarter, that is definitely a banquet. A banquet and a sidewalk are both types of walkways, but they are different. A banquet it's an upraised platform, and it starts at the doorstep, goes straight out to the street, and is usually covered by a galley, and it just drops off straight to the gutter. There's nothing else in between. And it's usually pretty wide, too. Usually a brick path or a wooden path. That's what they have in the French Quarter. A sidewalk is even with the street. They have separate pathways that go up to the doors. It's usually separated from the street or the house by maybe a little strip of grass. That is a sidewalk. But I guess growing up in places like that in the early days, all the old people still call sidewalks banquets. But there is a difference. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got to learn a little bit more about the Yat dialect. If you have any questions, or if you have anything else that you want me to cover, be sure to comment below, and I read all the comments. I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to these. I've been busy. Hey y'all, I'm back with my very trashy notes. I forgot some things, actually. I forgot a few things. And this is what they call a lanyap. It's a little something extra. And we use that term a lot, a lanyap. It's French, and it basically means just a little something extra. Usually when you go to a restaurant, they'll give you your whole po' boy, and then maybe a little something on the side, like a little extra shrimp. That is your lanyap. You might order maybe 10 chicken wings, and they'll give you like 11 or 12. That's the lanyap. It's a little something extra. Another another yadism that we say a lot is trying to fit New Orleans and Algiers. What that means is New Orleans is pretty big. I mean, not big, we're not a major city, but Algiers is a pretty tiny little part of New Orleans. I mean, it's still in the Orleans parish. And to fit all of New Orleans, all the population of New Orleans, in this little bitty city of Algiers, that is what we use when you're trying to stuff way too much stuff that will obviously not fit into a little bitty teeny tiny space. If you're really trying to cram it and nothing's gonna fit, or at least you know not all of it's gonna fit, we say you're trying to fit New Orleans and Algiers. It's just not gonna happen. There's too much stuff in too tiny of a place. Just get another container. Mini cats. Now, growing up, I always called them mini cats. Not a kitty cat, not a pussy cat. It was always a mini cat. And it's just what I called it. I never questioned it. I just thought kitty cat, pussy cat, that was just something, another name for it. And then I found out, like years ago, probably within the recent past, that the Cajun French word for cat is minou. And since we have so much Cajun influence down here, that's probably how we got the word mini cat. So we were pretty much saying cat or catty cat, kind of similar to kitty cat. So therefore, a mini cat. And that's actually how our cat got her name Min. Because my mom used to say, yeah, mini, 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 yeah, mini, mini. And then we just shortened it to Min. So my little cat's name is Min. Minu. Basically saying, here cat, come here cat. Here's a funny one. A rat crossed my grave. Now everywhere else they would say, a rabbit crossed my grave. Well, it's true, but we actually do have way more rats here than we do rabbits. And if you do a search on the internet, you will find, like, just look up rats in New Orleans after COVID. I think that's, anyway, when everything went on shutdown in New Orleans in the French Quarter, they had so many rats that were just running wild in the street. It was just covered. We do have a lot of rats here because we're right there by, you know, we're right on the river, and rats like water. We also have a lake right above us, so there's just water everywhere. Rats are everywhere. They're just a part of life. So you have more of a chance of a rat crossing your grave than a rabbit crossing your grave. And whenever you're just sitting there, and all of a sudden you get like, whoo, whoo, just shivers all of a sudden out of nowhere. It's like, ooh, a rat crossed my grave. I think that's it for now. If I come up with anything else, or if anybody wants me to cover anything else, comment below, and then I'll see if another video is in order. In the meantime, see y'all later.